Housing TV Africa, your first in housing development broadcasting.
Hello and welcome to Housing TV News at the top of the hour, coming to you from our studio in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Flora Oni, our top series. Federal government partners with International Fund for Agricultural Development to launch game-changing infrastructure for cassava value chain in Ondo State. Over 104 billion naira disbursed as Tinubu student loan reaches 600 beneficiaries. Prevention Guild says Nigerian witnessed 1,595 in 640 reported incidents. Federal Housing Authority cracks down on Abuja developers, issues 3-month ultimatum. On the foreign scene, United Nations Human Settlement Program says transition to smart, inclusive cities requires multifaceted approach. We'll begin with national matters. President Bola Tinubu says his student loan initiative has disbursed over 104 billion naira to 600 students across the country. The president disclosed this over the weekend in a statement to the 33rd convocation of the Federal University of Technology, Minna, Niger State. Tinubu, who was represented at the event by the director in the Federal Ministry of Education, Ajia Rekia Gambo Eliasu, also disclosed that over 940 billion naira has been provided for the Tertiary Education Trust Fund in the 2025 budget. This, according to the president, is part of his commitment to revamp the education system and ensure that financial challenges do not deny Nigerians access to quality education. The economic reforms implemented by the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu have been praised for being on the right track despite the temporary hardships they have caused. The event, which was organized by the Beyond Boundaries Legacy Leadership Initiatives in collaboration with the Civic Center on Economic Reforms, Policies and Planning, brought together experts and stakeholders to discuss the theme between austerity and prosperity in Nigeria yesterday, today and tomorrow. According to Dr. Opialu, who spoke at a one-day intellectual discourse on the state of the economy and the renewed hope agenda, the reforms are necessary for Nigerians' development and will ultimately lead to prosperity. Opialo also added that the reforms have caused short-term pains such as inflation, a reduction in disposable income, and a high cost of living. Opialo noted that the gains will far outweigh the pains in the long run.
The short-term effect of every reform are negative. Inflation, reduction in disposable income, high cost of living, social unrest and protest, currency volatility, and pressure on government for palliative. As of today, the state government's allocation have increased by over 70% of what they used to get in the days of subsidy. So local government autonomy puts more money in the hands of the local government administration, who will in turn directly affect the people of the rural communities, who incidentally are the larger majority of Nigerians.
We move to Ondo State, where the federal government has bolstered the agricultural landscape of the state. The federal government, in partnership with the International Fund for Agricultural Development, recently unveiled a series of transformative infrastructure initiatives aimed at the cassava value chain in Gede Akoko Northwest local government area. Among these is the state-of-the-art cassava processing mill, which is part of the Livelihood Improvement Family Enterprises Niger Delta project. According to Abiodun Sani, the National Project Coordinator, the recent commissioning of 5 additional projects, including markets, storage facilities, and borehole serves as a dual purpose.
We are here today to commission 5 infrastructural support projects to the cassava value chain. We have a market store, lock-up store and open store. We have an agricultural center, and we also have a cassava processing mill with support waste-to-wealth facility and as well as a water project that will support actual intervention in terms of processing and also serve as potable water to the rural community. The community, they've appreciated what we have provided for them. It has been fully accepted, and we are quite hopeful that this will lead to wealth creation, improved job opportunity, and also support to the food security aspiration of the government of Nigeria, talking about the federal and the state government in totality.
Director of the Project Coordinating Unit of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, Buka Musa, expressed the government's satisfaction with Ondo State project.
We have not expected less from them, and what we have seen are projects that will directly touch the livelihood of the community, especially the youth and women for which the Live ND project was actually designed. So they have actually delivered as far as our expectations are concerned, and we are highly delighted and appreciative of what we have seen so far from yesterday to today.
The coordinator of the project, Prince Olawale Ademola,
of this obvious. Rulers, everybody, both young and old, and for creating jobs for our people, improving their livelihood, it's really, really exciting. And I know with this level of achievement so far, Ondo State will be singing a better tune, and our youth will definitely be off the streets.
Nigeria's roads are to be more regulated as the police launch enforcement of nationwide third-party motor insurance to curb the menace of uninsured vehicles and ensure that victims receive adequate compensation. The Nigerian police force has begun a nationwide crackdown on defaulting motorists, with the enforcement exercise kicking off simultaneously across the Federation. Motorists without valid third-party insurance have been advised to comply or face consequences. Lagos, Kogi, Delta, FCT, Edo, and several other states commenced enforcement on Saturday, February 1. Reacting to the IGP's order on full enforcement, the Federal Capital Territory Police Command said it commenced implementation of the policy on February 1. It has also warned officers to desist from extorting motorists in the guise of policy enforcement. Now to National Assembly, where Barrister Kamorudeen Ogunlana formally assumed office as Clerk of the National Assembly, making him the 9th since 1993. The handover ceremony took place at the National Assembly complex, Abuja, on Saturday evening and was attended by management, staff, and other dignitaries. In his handover speech, the outgoing Clerk of the National Assembly, Sani Magaji Tamboa, who handed over document to the newly appointed Clerk, Barrister Kamorudeen Ogunlana, expressed gratitude to the staff of the National Assembly for the immense support he received during his tenure. In his response, the newly appointed Clerk of the National Assembly, while eulogizing his predecessor, applauded his courage and leadership qualities while at the helm of affairs as Clerk of the National Assembly. While reeling out his agenda, Barrister Ogunlana pledged to democratize the National Assembly, urging the management team to work harmoniously for the overall interests of the country. The National Association of Nigerian Students has conferred the title of Grand Patron on Taraba State Governor Dr. Agbo Kefes in recognition of his efforts in providing free and affordable education in the state. During a meeting with the governor at the Government House in Jalingo, the National Association of Nigerian Students National President Lucky Monefe praised Kefes for introducing free primary and secondary education, as well as implementing a 50% tuition subsidy for students in tertiary education.
Critical perusal of your antecedents, a critical analysis of your track record, especially areas of education. Your genuine commitment towards ensuring education is taken seriously in Taraba State.
In response, Governor Kefas reaffirmed his administration's commitment to youth empowerment and urged students to be patriotic and actively contribute to national development.
You have to relate with the elders. And I'm happy you people are doing that. I want to assure all of you that the crop of leadership we have now, we are willing and ready to relate with you people so that we'll mentor you to take over from us.
Earlier at the inauguration of the National Association of Nigerian Students, Northeast Zonal Executives, the association issued a 2-week ultimatum to the federal government to commence the reconstruction of the long dilapidated Numan Jalingo Road, threatening mass protests if no action is taken.
We are giving those concerned, if the road has not been awarded, it should be immediately awarded. And if it has been awarded, those in charge should go to site with immediate effect. The leadership of NANS is giving 14 days for urgent attention to that road.
Furthermore, the student body passed a vote of confidence on Governor Agbo Kefas, urging other state governors to emulate his commitment to education and youth development. Nigerians have been advised to avoid all but essential trips to Uganda and other countries with confirmed Ebola virus disease cases. The advisory followed the January 30th confirmation of the outbreak of the Sudan strain of Ebola virus in Wakiso, Mukono and Mambele City by Ugandan Ministry of Health. He disclosed that in response to the developments, the NCDC has updated its Ebola virus disease emergency contingency plan. Increased screening at points of entry, particularly international airports. He urged Nigerians to adhere to the following preventive measures: practice good hand hygiene, wash hands regularly with soap and water, or use hand sanitizers. Additionally, he advised health workers to maintain a high index of suspicion, use personal protective equipment, and report suspected cases immediately. We'll take a pause here. News stories from the blue sector are up next.
Get credible and authentic housing news at your fingertips by downloading the Housing TV mobile app. You can also join the African International Housing Show live from across the globe through the Housing TV mobile app. The mobile app features live streaming and trending housing news. You can locate the AIHS venue via the app, network with AIHS seasoned speakers, and live chat with exhibitors. You can also order house or building materials at AIHS via this app. Download the Housing TV mobile app now from the App Store and Google Play Store. And don't forget to click on the notification button. Available for both iOS and Android users. Housing TV is also on Star Times, channel 149 decoder.
You're still watching Housing TV News at the top of the hour. Now to the build sector. The Building Collapse Prevention Guild has said that Nigeria witnessed 1,595 deaths in 640 reported incidents of building collapse between October 1974 and January 9, 2025. According to the Guild, the first recorded building collapse in Nigeria occurred in October 1974 in Oyo State, where a multi-story building collapsed due to excessive loading, killing 27 people. Lagos State has the highest number of recorded building collapses in Nigeria, accounting for 15% of all incidents. Abuja comes in second with 4.37%, followed by Anambra with 4.06%, Oyo with 3.44%, and Kano with 3.28%, respectively. Some states such as Taraba, Bayelsa, Gombe, and Yobe had their first recorded building collapse in 2022. On the other hand, states like Zamfara, Taraba, Yobe, Bauchi, Bayelsa, Sokoto, Gombe, Katsina, and Kebbi have only had one recorded building collapse. The Federal Housing Authority has issued a firm directive to estate developers operating in Lugbe, Karu, and Kubwa within the Federal Capital Territory, setting a strict 3-month deadline for them to regularize their construction approvals. Effective immediately, all ongoing development projects in these areas are to be suspended until the necessary documentation is submitted and verified. The Federal Housing Authority management, in a statement released on Sunday, made it clear that compliance is non-negotiable. Developers are now required to report in person to the authority's headquarters at number 26 Julius in Yerere Crescent, Asokoro, Abuja, starting February 3, 2025. At this meeting, they must present crucial documents including letters of allocation, approved building plans, payment receipts, and other proof of ownership, such as consent letters for transferred properties. To wrap up Housing TV news at the top of the hour, on the foreign scene, the United Nations Human Settlement Program, UN-Habitat, said the transition to smart and inclusive cities requires a multifaceted approach that leverages digital technologies and prioritizes social inclusion and equitable development. The UN body stated this in its report titled Monitoring Smart Inclusive Transition for an Equitable Urban Future using Global Urban Monitoring Framework. It stressed that the international guidelines on people-centered smart cities under preparations by UN-Habitat will offer a strong foundation for national and local governments. In a forward to the report by the Director of External Relations, Strategy, Knowledge and Innovation Division, UN-Habitat, Dr. Eldam Yemero, noted that through a people-centered approach to smart city development, cities could empower undeserved communities and promote social mobility. The report, however, highlighted that by adopting the Global Urban Monitoring Framework developed by UN-Habitat, cities can holistically track their process towards becoming more sustainable, resilient, and inclusive. The Trump administration over the weekend put on administrative leave for dozens more staffs in the U.S. Agency for International Development. Sources familiar with the move stated as it moves to abolish the agency's independence and bring it under the control of the State Department. Nearly 30 career staff in the agency's Legislative and Public Affairs Bureau lost access overnight to their emails, the sources said, bringing the total number of senior USAID career staff who have been put on leave over the past week close to 100. Two senior officials overseeing the agency's security operations were also put on administrative leave after refusing to hand over classified documents to Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency officials, one of the sources said. Matt Thompson, who was appointed as Chief of Staff by the Trump administration, has resigned, 5 sources familiar with the matter said. A congressional source said his resignation followed the security personnel being put on leave, who said did not respond to a request about Thompson. That's the most we can take on Housing TV News at the top of the hour. Before we go, a quick recap of our top stories. Federal government partners with International Fund for Agricultural Development to launch game-changing infrastructure for cassava value chain in Ondo State. Over 104 billion naira disbursed as Sustainable Student Loan reaches 600 beneficiaries. Prevention Guild says Nigerian witnessed 1,595 in 640 reported incidents. Federal Housing Authority cracks down on Abuja developers, issues 3-month ultimatum. On the foreign scene, United Nations Human Settlements Program says transition to smart, inclusive cities requires multifaceted approach. For more news in the housing sector, subscribe to Housing TV Africa on YouTube and follow Housing TV on all social media platforms. Download Housing TV Africa mobile app on Google Play Store and App Store to stay connected. I am Flora Ani. Bye for now.
Housing TV Africa, your first in housing news.